Good evening. We begin tonight with County Sheriff Kieran Donahue finding himself feet away from today's top national news story at the White House.
As President Trump stood before a group of White House reporters, Sheriff Donahue was among a group of sheriffs standing behind the president, listening as he went off about an anonymous and highly critical op-ed purportedly written by a senior official inside his administration. I talked with Donahue just 1 hour after he left the White House. He said he had no idea he'd be in the background of a story appearing on every major news outlet in the country. President Trump fired up at a meeting with sheriffs from across the country, but not about law enforcement or border security, which is what the meeting was supposed to be about.
So that was actually kind of planned to do the photo, and then it turned into a little bit more than the photo.
The president speaking off the cuff to gathered cameras about a New York Times op-ed written anonymously by someone in his administration.
So if the failing New York Times has an anonymous editorial, can you believe it? Anonymous. Meaning gutless, a gutless editorial.
The op-ed is highly critical of President Trump, saying some senior officials are working as resistance in the administration to, quote, frustrate parts of his agenda and his worst inclinations. Trump went after the anonymous writer and the New York Times.
So when you tell me about some anonymous source within the administration, probably who's failing, and probably here for all the wrong reasons. No. And the New York Times is failing. If I weren't here, I believe the New York Times probably wouldn't even exist. And someday...
Canyon County Sheriff Kieran Donahue was one of the sheriffs in the room.
We were taking the photo and presenting him the plaque, and then the rest of it happened. He spoke his mind on the matter and again, turned back to the sheriffs on numerous occasions, and we were very supportive of what he had to say.
Ultimately, Sheriff Donahue says the interest in the op-ed was a distraction from the reason he came to Washington, immigration.
More importantly is the conversations we're having. I mean, I think that op-ed came from somebody. Right now, our focus is on getting Congress to talk about the issues that face America. We need to come up with a process for people to come to our country legally and secure that border.
Donahue says this is the first time that he's met President Trump. He said Trump made a campaign promise to the National Sheriff's Association that if he got elected, he'd have their backs. And Donahue tells me that he believes Trump is fulfilling that promise. And you notice there in that last clip of the video that one of the sheriffs gave Trump a plaque that Trump says, that plaque says that there is a new sheriff in town, is what Donahue said.
It was easy to pick out Sheriff Donahue wearing the big 10-gallon black hat.
Yeah.
I believe it was 10-gallon.
Yeah.
It was a big one.
Donahue meeting with more congressional leaders tomorrow, including Senators Risch and Crapo, to talk about immigration reform.
Yeah, which is, like he said, one of the reasons why he was there.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.